and welcome back to lesson 1.2 in the concepts of a region. So today we're going to start off over on page number 4 with what a region actually is. Now, a region is an area on the Earth's surface that has distinct characteristics that sets it apart from other areas. Its characteristics are distinct and unique. Now, these characteristics can range from the like of physical characteristics. Physical could be rock structure, it can be climate, it can be rock type, cultural, which could be language or religion and or way of life, administrative, whether it's local or national governments, and finally the last one, socioeconomic, whether it's a developed area or underdeveloped, core or peripheral, or potentially a region of industrial decline. Now, this table you'll see on page number 3 is something that appears every single year in a short question, worth 8 marks, which is technically 2% of your paper. So we want to make sure we know this table here absolutely perfectly and that we're able to answer the short questions based on that. We're going to fill in this table a little bit further and have a look at it, but we're also going to look at 1 or 2 short questions that we've seen in the past. So on our table here, we have our different types of regions. This starts off with our physical regions. Now, physical regions we can see here is split up into 2 groups. We have our climatic regions, and I want you to put a couple of extra notes on this. Climatic regions are based on their temperature, which is TEMP, and precipitation. Precipitation is an umbrella term for rain, hail, sleet, and snow. Now, examples you'll see here is cool temperate oceanic, also referred to as maritime, but you could also have the like of cool temperate continental, CTC for cool temperate continental, or a common one that's asked is Mediterranean, or included, I should say. Our second physical region is our geomorphological or geomorphic, which is based, generally speaking, on rock type or rock structure. The like of the Burren in County Clare is obviously very distinct rock type, Carboniferous limestone, and that is a karst landscape. Now, there's other ones that we would have seen in physical geography, landscapes that's based on rock type. So our Basalt Plateau, for instance, our Antrim Derry Plateau, you could jot down there, or our Leinster Batholith, again based on granite. But you can also have more structure, and the North European plain is based on its structure. And again, that's going to cross over information with our Paris Basin, our core European region. Next is our local and EU administrative regions. Now, your local authorities, say for instance in Ireland, would be your Irish county councils. So if you see something like, County Down, or County Roscommon, or County Leitrim, or County Dublin, they're all administrative regions, but you also have your city councils like Dublin City Council, Galway City Council, Cork City Council. You have your EU administrative regions, your departments. Generally speaking, you will find they're named after French regions, or they're kind of French spoken. You have your cultural regions, which is language and religion. Now, language is obviously the primary means of communication, and the Gaeltacht and Belgium are 2 language regions. Here you'll see, for instance, Belgium is split up into 2, Wallonia and Flanders. Pop that down. You'll generally see the 2 of them separately. Wallonia is in the south of Belgium and Flanders is in the north. The Basque Country could also be included in a cultural region based on language. Religion is our next, and again, religion dictates what people do in their everyday lives. Northern Ireland is an example of a religious region, and so is the Islamic world. Generally speaking, we just studied Northern Ireland. Socioeconomic regions, we have our core regions, which tend to be our developed. Whereas what you'll see below is your peripheral region. They tend to be underdeveloped or developing. Core regions include the Dublin region, also we can say the GDA, the Greater Dublin Area, and the Paris Basin in France. Peripheral regions is the like of the Western region or the Mezzogiorno. A lot of people used to study the borders, Midlands and West. That does not exist anymore. You have the Northwestern Regional Assembly. Sometimes an example that's included here is actually Northern Norway. Again, somewhere that's very, very isolated. Anywhere isolated tends to be a peripheral region. Regions of industrial decline is an area that was once a very wealthy, thriving area, but its socioeconomic status has deteriorated. The Sambre-Meuse Valley, which is located in Wallonia in Belgium, is an example of this, as well as the North coalfields. Both of them had coalfields, but their resources were depleted. Finally, we have our cities. Cities, nodal points, urban regions, whatever you want to say. Dublin, Paris, Nepal, Kolkata, you could say London, you can say Milan, you can say Copenhagen. All of these are examples of cities, urban areas, or nodal points. Now remember that this is something that appears pretty much every single year in short questions. So for instance, if I was to give you a list, short questions in 2024, yes, it did appear. In 2023, yes, we got one question. In 2022, yes, we got one question. In 2021, yes, we got one question. Every single year, we tend to get one question based on this. Now that we know our different types and a couple of examples, let's look at one or two, not them all, short questions in our notes. Jump over as far as page number 49 in your notes and let's answer one or two of these questions. Again, later on, we're going to go through them all, but let's just make sure we understand what they're asking, what they want us to do. So page 49, 2014's question. Let's just take a quick look. It says, answer each of the following questions in the table below. So part number 1, match each of the following types of regions with the description in the table that best matches. Second part is match each of the following examples of regions with the description in the table that best matches. Now, before we actually look at the, types of regions, let me just kind of scan through the definitions because this is actually quite important. A region in Ireland with a high population density, it has cities and towns. So I'm thinking that's my hint there. A region with a unique landscape based on the rock type, structure, or relief for my second. A region with unique temperature and precipitation is my third one here. A region involved in governing the functions and organizations of an area. Now, I didn't read every single word. I just read what I needed to. So again, I've highlighted the main things here. So the first thing here we see is part 1, we want our different types of regions. We have urban, we have climatic, we have administrative, and we have geomorphological. Just a reminder, I'll probably slightly abbreviate here, so just be aware of that. Now I'm going to go for the one that is the easiest. It's the most straightforward here. So I'm going to go for maybe climatic. So I see temperature and precipitation here. So I'm thinking that's a climatic region. Now straight away I'm going to look for my example of a climatic region. So we have the Bern, County Leitrim, Berlin and Hot Desert. Hot Desert is an example of a climatic region. The second one I'm going to look at here, I'm going to go for a geomorphological. Geomorphological is based on rock type, structure or relief. Now I'm just going to say GEO. Again, I just struggle with this interactive whiteboard sometimes. And the Bern in County Clare is a karst landscape that is based on its very distinctive rock structure. The last two we have here is urban and administrative. Now, once I see the word governing down here, I'm thinking administrative. And when I see the word county, for instance, County Leitrim, that's going to be an example of an administrative region, which leaves the urban, again, high population, cities and towns, and Berlin as my examples. Now, marking scheme wise for each of these very, very quickly, and make sure you always mark your answers. You get a tick and 1 mark for each of these correct. It makes no difference what's going on the far side. If they're correct, you get a tick and 1. For each of the examples correct for part 2, you'll get a tick and 1. Again, mark yourself out of 8 what you got, 8 out of 8, whatever it may be. And remember, that 8 marks is actually technically 2% of that written paper. Let's come across the page and look at page number 50. So here we see 2023's question. So very similar style question. So what are we asked? They say complete the table below by matching each of the examples of regions in the list with the type of region most associated with it in the table. So again, I usually say to people, start with what you're very confident with. We have urban region, we have peripheral region, climatic region, geomorphological, administrative, and region of industrial decline. So I'm going to start off, I'm going to start at the bottom of my list with County Meath, because anytime I see the word county, I'm thinking to myself, it's administrative. So one done. Next, let's go for cool temperate oceanic, because I've seen that as an example already here today. Again, it's based on temperature and precipitation. So I'm going to put my cool temperate oceanic, again, I'm abbreviating, you don't do that in your exam, as my climatic region. I see Sambre Meuse Valley, and that's actually my example of a region of industrial decline. After that, we have west of Ireland, we have North European Plain, and we have London left. Well, North European Plain is my example of a geomorphological region. We now have London and the Western region. Well, what's left? We have urban and peripheral. Well, obviously the urban region must be London, which means the west of Ireland. That is an S. Is going to be my peripheral region. Now, just as far as that point, marking scheme wise, what is this worth? Again, we're not finished the question. We're going to get a tick and 1 mark for each of these correct, so mark off each one for yourself. The second part of this question is a little bit different. So what are we looking at here? Here they say indicate whether the following statements are true or false. Core regions are well-developed socioeconomic regions that attract industry. Well, core regions are well-developed regions. They attract industry, they have good employment opportunities, so that there is true. My second question here, what does it ask? It says peripheral regions, and again, core regions would have been the GDA and the Paris Basin, peripheral, the Mediterranean and the west of Ireland, or Western region, experiences net immigration. Now, what this means, and I just want to circle one thing very clearly here, the I. I have the I in, but the I. That means that more people are coming in than are leaving. Remember, if it's E, it's exiting, I is in. So in peripheral regions like the Mediterranean and the Western region, are you seeing more people enter these regions, come in, than go out? That statement is false. Each of them getting a tick and 1 mark. Again, mark yourself at 8 every single time. Guys, I'd recommend now that you take a couple of minutes, and what you do is you continue on with them questions. So continue on with each of them short questions, and we'll be answering them together a little bit later on. But I want you trying them for yourself.